Okay.
Good morning again. This is Joyce at Delightful Quilting and Sewing, a quilting dealer in Avon, New York. Yesterday I put up a video that showed templates and rulers and a little bit on how to use them. Today I wanted to just review a little bit of that and go on and show you a few more tips on using templates and rulers. Some of the things that you'll need to work with templates and rulers. And I also had an email yesterday, someone inquiring about the kind of foot on your machine. Does it matter? Well, yes, it does matter. So let's take a look at the feet first of all. The kind of foot that you will need to use a ruler must be absolutely round, like this one and this one. On the quilting machine right here on the Pro, you have the high visibility foot. It's called the high vis foot, where you've got lots of open space in there. Yes, you can use this with templates and rulers. The important thing with any template or ruler is when you're using your ruler against it, you do not want to press with anything too hard. It's a guide. The ruler is a guide. And as you're stitching along, you do not press real hard against it. This particular foot is not as sturdy as what is called the ruler foot. But you don't necessarily have to use the ruler foot or change your high visibility foot to the ruler foot. I've always used the high visibility foot with my templates and rulers and not had a problem. I want to show you another machine that I have here. This one is an older commercial machine that has been retrofitted with the equalizer on it. Some of the older machines have this style foot right here. It goes down the back and kind of bends, and you can see that it's long in this direction here, oval on the front, curved on the front, and flat on the back. This kind of foot you cannot use with rulers unless you're just going right straight along this way or straight this way. These do not work, and you would need to change your foot to one of the other feet that will work, a round foot that will work with the rulers. And when you do change the foot, you do need to check and make sure that the hopping foot is the correct height from the ruler plate. And information in our book, Guide to Quilting with Your Quilting, there's information on how to make that adjustment to make sure that the hopping foot is the exact height. So in the very lowest position, you have to be able to slide a dime underneath the hopping foot. And it's the same regardless of what hopping foot it is that you're using. So our book has specific instructions on how to check it and how to adjust it if you need to adjust it. So going back over to our templates and rulers, I just wanted to show you some of the things that you do need when you're using templates and rulers. I recommend a chalk marker, white chalk only. You'll need some painter's tape because I use it for rolling up and putting underneath my template to just kind of hold it down so that it doesn't wobble around on me. And when I use it, it stays firmly in the position that I want to use it. I did a little bit of work on this one since yesterday. Wanted to show you, this is one of the specific rulers meant for a specific purpose. You can kind of divide rulers up into two categories. Ones that are designed for a specific kind of design, like this one is the rope tool. You stitch along here, down here, back, move it along, stitch the next one, and you can move right along fairly quickly, creating your rope. And this particular one has a 3-inch rope, and on the other side, an 1.5 inch rope. Another one that is a specific shape, like the clam that I drew out or stitched out yesterday. This one has 4 different clam half circles on them, and of course you can use the half circles more than for just doing clams. Anything where you need a nice circular arc. And then other ones that are specific shapes. This is one type where you are working on the inside. This key right here slides out, and then you can select the size that you want inside, turn the key around to fill in the hole here, and you are moving your foot into here and stitching on the inside. It's a controlled area, and sometimes easier than stitching around the outside. And then the other type of specific one that I showed you yesterday is the one that is the top anchor, where we have a center post, and I'll demonstrate this one in just a minute. The other type of rulers that we have are more what I call utility rulers. Straight lines, arcs, ovals, which could be a shape, but more likely you might use half of it, or use it for borders, all different kinds of things like that. And this is a nifty one that I really like using, the S curve here for making curved cross hatching. So just taking a look quickly at what we can do with them. This was our rope that we did in here. I was doing curved, the continuous curves. And if you go online and just put in long arm continuous curves, it comes up with specific information on where you actually start, how you work your way through, so that you start up in the top left-hand corner, you work your way through, and then you work your way all the way back up to the top again. Basically, just quickly to show you how the curved lines work here. This one is a deep curve. I'll illustrate that one. I had the other one that I was using before. You want to keep your needle at your points, going into your points right here and here. So when you line up your ruler, you've got to be 1/4 of an inch away from your point, so that when you're stitching, you come into the point. Rearrange the ruler, and I recommend keeping your hand flat on the ruler so that it doesn't pivot on you. Switching it out again, lining it up with your point, and around you go from point to point to point, doing your continuous curves. And of course, depending on how deep your arc is, it'll be deeper or shallower when you get done. So I'm going to move on to the next little thing here, which is stitching a design and a block. So all I did here was use my channel lockdown and just so that we had some blocks to work with. So working inside of a block, you need to find the center. And yesterday I took a ruler and marked on here. It kind of faded away on me, but this is the center of the block right there, corner to corner, corner to corner. And you put your center, which is a circle that I'm using, right down over that. And I've got a little bit of tape on that to keep it firm. Now when you're working around the outside of a template, I always start at the 7 o'clock position. I marked it on here with chalk just so you could see it, but I take my thread up at the 7 o'clock position. And the reason for that is I'm going to be holding my template with my left hand, putting it in the center and to the right of my hopping foot, so that as I'm going around my template, my hand just stays on my template, and I get all done and I come right back to my starting point. I do not have to rearrange the position of my hand. I can keep it planted on my template so that it doesn't move on me. So once I'm back in the center here, I could do cross hatching with a straight line ruler like this, or I could take the S ruler like this and just start doing some cross hatching. And when you get to the edge like that, you can just go up and stitch in the ditch and keep working your way back and forth. And when you get back down here, you can go the other direction as well. Around the outside, there's a number of things that you could do. Usually what I do is I'll do freeform feathers. And you can do any kind of design that you want, anything that you want to do out here. I look at templates as a shape. What can I do with that shape? How can I embellish that shape? What can I add to that shape to make a design out of it? And one other tip when you are working with something like this, a feathered wreath, choose a circle for the center of it that's about half the diameter as your full diameter across. The one I had was just a little bit big for here, but if you have an 8-inch circle across here, you could use a 3 or 4-inch circle in the middle, and that will give you the kind of proportions that will look nice across your quilt. In working with templates and rulers, remember, this is still pretty much kind of hand-guided. Some of it's going to be hand-guided. What keeps the eye happy when you look at something like this is if you start with something that's consistent in the center, like a circle. Circle, circle across. That's going to be even all the way across, and it will be easy for the eye to rest on a quilt, even if the feathers around the outside are not the same and your cross-hatching isn't exactly the same. That one common thing gives the eyes a place to rest. All right, the last thing that I wanted to demonstrate for you over here in this space is we had talked yesterday about the star, the 5-pointed star, which can be 10 points simply by rearranging it and offsetting it using the reference points on here. Another one that is available is the hex star. You can make the 6-pointed star either filled in like this or open, and hexagons of 2 different sizes. So I'm going to demonstrate the smaller hexagon for you. The top anchor system works with several other parts. The principle of it is you have a center point, and you're going to be rotating the template around that center point, creating the sides of the object. So we have a cap that we're going to use. We have a little T-pin, and we have our anchor point. The anchor point, again, if this were going to go in the center of our space, we would want to mark the center of our space with a chalk marker, which, oh, there it is. So I'm just going to ballpark in here what that is. So all right, we'll say that that's our center point right there. And when I use the top anchor system, I don't put my pin down over top of my plate on my machine. I need this to be a little bit flexible, and I'm going to put my pin in about 1/4 of an inch away from my center point, because once I get it in, I want that center point of that to be right over the center point that I've indicated. So I'm going to go down about 1/4 of an inch away and scoop it up, and I'm right over that center point. And then there's a little T-pin that you put in underneath the quilt. You rock it to one side, rock it back the other way, and that locks that post right in there. That's not going to move. I can bring my machine back now, which suddenly came unthreaded. Little tip on threading your machine. There's a groove in the front of your needle. If you run your thread down that groove, that thread pops right through the hole. All right, so we're going to place our template right over top of that post. This is a rare earth magnet, which is very strong, holds that down very well there. And then you're going to decide, where do you want to start on your design. I'm going to start right here, and you go up to the little curved area that you need right there. Pull my thread up, go back to that spot, take a couple of stitches. And now this is just a guide. I'm going to stitch from this point to this point. At this point, I'm going to rotate my template. The next side, rotate. Rotate the template. Rotate again. And go to the last side right there. And I'm back to my start point. So I'll move that out of the way, take this off, and you can see the nice little hexagon that we stitched right there. So all of the top anchor templates work in the same way. We have one that's a dahlia that will create a flower, and by repositioning you can go 2 times around and it fills it in very nicely. The 5-pointed star, 10-pointed star, but all of the top anchor ones work with the same type of system with a post that's placed in the center of the design and the template moves around the center. So there's a few more tips today on using templates and rulers. They're a lot of fun. If you don't have a computer guided system, they can add to the precision that you have for the designs that you're putting on your quilt. Sometimes it's hard for us to create the kind of designs that we really want, and we can use templates and rulers as a basis for many of our designs and give us that kind of precision that we're looking for. Through the rest of today, they're 11% off all of the ones that are listed on our website in honor of our 11th anniversary. And take a look at our website, www.delightful-qs.com, and look for the online store on the top of the menu, and go there and take a look at our templates and rulers. Have a great Saturday, and if you already use rulers or have them and don't use them, I hope you try. And if you don't have them, give them a try. I think you'll like them. Have a great day.